Get to some movers here. Rivian reporting a narrower than expected loss in the first quarter. The company reiterating it is still on track to meet its production target for 2023 of 50,000 vehicles. Let's bring in Pras Subramanian with the latest. Pras, it's been an interesting EV season so far for earnings. What do we hear from Rivian?
Yeah, hey, Julie. So, yeah, we saw actually good news for the EV beat, right? So they had a revenue beat here, a slight revenue beat of $661 million, but it was a big jump from a year ago. Also a narrower EPS loss versus what Wall Street expected, so that's good for them. But more importantly, you mentioned they reiterated that 50,000 annual production guidance, which would be a double of the amount that they made in the prior year, so that's good for them. Their outlook, they see a $4.3 billion adjusted EBITDA loss for the year, which is $900 million less than a year ago, so that's good. They have about $11 billion in cash on hand. So that should fund them through at least the next year. And they also have expect to achieve a gross profit by 2024. So that's something that they're sort of looking ahead to. Investors are sort of hoping that happens because, as you know, the story with Rivian is that the products are great, but the question is, can they survive? Do they have enough run rate to survive through the kind of evolution of the EV landscape?
And so, Pras, while we have you, let's also talk a little bit about Fisker and Lucid here, too.
Yeah, so Brad, Lucid, on the other hand, we had two reports. Like Lucid, first off, earnings miss as well as revenue sales miss there. They said they'll produce 10,000 cars this year, which is the bottom end of their original forecast of $10,000 to $14,000. And a lot is counting on here, Brad, on their new Gravity SUV, the SUV that they're hoping will be their big seller. That won't launch till next year. So the issue is that they have enough money to kind of go through Q2 of 2024. So they'll have this car come out, but then you also have a potential cash crunch. And the question is, will they need more capital then? Will the Lucid Air, their current sedan, sell enough and be profitable to kind of boost their sort of fortunes before that car comes out? So a lot of question marks there for Lucid. Fisker as well, just real quick. They had to cut their production forecast slightly from 36 to 32,000. Some issues there. They began deliveries, but there's some potential issues there with software that Bloomberg reported on. And apparently some cars are actually not going, they can't go that fast. They have to operate at a slow speed. Fisker is vehemently denying that, and they say that other issues will be affected by a OTA update. So a lot going on in space, some good, but some bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to sort of like now get that overall view, right, of the EV landscape following the earnings season. You got Tesla up here, and then you have the others kind of arrayed here. How should investors sort of be thinking about them, particularly the newer entrants to the market, kind of like where they stack up, if you will?
Yeah, you have Tesla over here doing its own thing profitably, making pure play EV cars. And then you have Lucid, Rivian, and Fisker on kind of shaky ground trying to get to the point where Tesla is right now. And I think Wall Street is sort of appreciating the old legacy automakers like Ford and GM, who can actually make a lot of money with their traditional gas-powered ICE business, use that to fund their EV endeavors. But at the same time, let's say in the future, if Americans aren't transitioning to EVs fast enough, Ford and GM can shift back to ICE, or they can go to hybrid, which the other guys can't do. So I think there's more of an appreciation there for the traditional automakers who can sort of play both ends, because right now, starting a car company and making it profitable is a long journey, and Tesla proved they can do it, but there's a lot of other companies that have not been able to do that over the last 100 years of the automotive industry.
Yeah, and even with Tesla, there were a lot of questions along the way over whether it was going to be able to do it after all. Pras, thank you so much. Really helpful look at the landscape there.